I'm going to show you how we bit our young horse. I'm going to show you how we bit our young horse. So I've actually already recorded this video in the summer, but I wasn't 100% happy with it, so we're going to do it again today. Obviously that means this now isn't the first time that she's had her bridle on, but she still hasn't had it on maybe more than 5 times. So obviously what you'll need is horse, your bridle. You don't need to worry about a noseband, and it can be easier to just take the brow band off sometimes as well, so you don't have to fiddle trying to get ears in, and obviously a bit that you want to use for them, and I tend to keep their head collar on, and some treats. Now if it is the first time that you're doing this, then you might want to put some honey on the bit. I did this the first time with her. She wasn't that keen on the honey, so it hasn't been something that I've worried too much about for her, but I have got a pocket of treats, and I'll go through what I would normally do later as well, but I'm not going to do it with her today because she's that little bit further on. So anyway, so what you want to kind of go through first, if it is the first time and you're not sure how they're going to react to a bridle, with or without a brow band on, leave the bit off, and you can just, you know, work on sort of getting them to place it over, see I've got the bit on, but place it over their head and over their ears. I can't get that high up because I've got the bit on, but you know what I mean, so that they're used to that feeling. Obviously she's, good girl, she's used to that. I'm going to take my gloves off because they're a little bit bulky for this, but it is very cold. So yeah, she's done this a little bit, and I've done some training of getting her to kind of understand to put her nose into the bridle. So we're getting towards the stages that I want to teach her to kind of put the bridle on herself, even though no, she's not 100% with the bit yet. Good girl. So little bits of that just help. It can help sort of desensitise them to the bit and stuff like that. Obviously it's a cold day, the bit is going to be cold as well. So I'm just going to tuck this in so it doesn't get in the way. Probably still get in the way, but there we are. I'm going to just take one step back so that I can come in the stable with her. There we are, good girl. And I'm going to do the same thing. So I might actually lower this one because it did look like it was going to possibly be a bit snug on her, and I'd rather, though this isn't the easiest one to change, don't push me, I'd rather this be a little bit looser, and that goes for anything. I think you're better off having it looser for the first time you're going to put it on, so you don't get in a battle trying to get it over the top of their head while they've got something new and strange in their mouth. Hello. But they say if you put the headpiece on first without bitting it anyway, you can kind of see where it's going to need to sit, so you can gauge that relatively well. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a handful of treats, and obviously we know this bit, roughly. There's a good girl. And I'm just going to hold it there for a second. And even if she doesn't get the bit the first time, I don't mind. See, we don't really want you. Good girl. So she's had a little chew on the bit there, no reaction, that's fine. Sometimes some of them will grab the bit in their mouth. There we go, good girl. And what I'll do now is I'll just hold it there for a second, and I'll give her some more. And then it's a bit twisted. And this is why it's easier to not have the brow band on, so I'm just plonk it over her ears. It is a little bit loose now, so I'm going to do it up. Try to. This is a very stiff headpiece, which isn't ideal. I mean, if you're doing this, oh dear, with something for the first time, you might want one that's a bit more easily manoeuvred. But good girl. I'll give her some more sweeties. And I say that was nice and easy. And as I said, she's probably only had a bridle on, I would say 5 times. So, you know, she's not by any means a pro at this, but I've been doing, oh sorry sweetie, I've been doing bits and pieces in between, which just with the headpiece and stuff make a big difference. So that's something to bear in mind. You don't always have to put the bit in to make progress. Good girl. That was in my face, isn't it? Good girl. And I might do that a couple more times now. Now I've got it in the right place as well. So what I would normally do, if this was her first time having it on, and what I did do when it was her first time having it on, was I had a small bucket of fast fibre or something in mash that you can soak and make reasonably soggy, but not like soup, but you know, quite damp. And I'd now give that to her and let her eat it with her bit in. I'd still stay with her, I wouldn't, you know, just disappear and leave her. So that she's moving the bit around in her mouth, she's chewing, she's getting a feel for how it feels on her tongue, on the top of her mouth, obviously how the metal feels, how it tastes. Hello sweetie, but she's getting it in a nice way because she's getting some food as well. And before she finished that bucket, I would take bridle off, either by undoing the cheek pieces. So it depends on the horse, I'll show you another way in a second. But you can either just slip it off if you think they're going to be okay, but you've got to do it slowly, which I'll go through in a minute. Or if they are a bit maybe head shy or a bit wary, you can then undo the cheek pieces and gently, stop it, take it out of their mouth so you're not going to bash their front teeth. And then I'd let them have the rest of the food. So we're a little bit past that with her now. But you can see she's still chewing, she's not quite ready with the bit yet. This is a little bit snug on her, but it's not terrible. I'd maybe go 1/4 of an inch bigger. This isn't her bit, because she doesn't really have one yet. But I like the mouthpiece in this. I think it's quite a nice gentle mouthpiece. It's a HP hanging cheek. It's like the Muller mouth, but it's got a break in it. But so I'm going to take this off her now. See that morning, done throat lash up and all that for the feed. So if you're taking it off this way, both hands, I know this sounds really simple and what you do on a day-to-day, but it's always different with a young horse. I always support it here, so that I'm not just suddenly taking it all off, so I take it over the ears, very gently, and I'm still supporting, I've still got the weight of the bit in my hand, rather than just letting it go. If you need to, some more sweets, keep a head down, and then I'll very gently, good girl, take it out, still keeping the contact so that you don't just drop it and bash them in the mouth, because that's what makes them a bit unhappy. So I'll just show you quickly now that it's going to be a nightmare with this bridle. That was easier. And this isn't the best if you don't have a bridle band. So putting it on without the like undoing the cheek pieces. Again, if you've got one that's maybe a little bit head shy or whatever, it's better if you do have a brow band on, because then it can kind of hold it in place. So you put it on with your brow band, just slide it over like that. So I'm going to have to hold this. I'm going to slide it around the side. I haven't done this way because I haven't needed to. Good girl. Sorry, I missed. Good girl. But say you can, good girl, do it this way. And for her, that's maybe a little bit less inviting. It's a bit harder to give them treats while you're doing it. But it works just as well. So I'm not going to do it up properly because I'm going to undo it now. So same thing, obviously you would do it up then where it needs to be. Give them some treats, give them a bucket, whatever. Don't leave them. And then once you're happy and they're ready, if you want to do it the other way, obviously undo the cheek piece. Still support so it doesn't fall off, and you can either hold it down at the bit or at the top of the cheek piece. Should not be very helpful, and just gently, good girl. And then you know it's less of a risk again if you've got, depends on the horse really, and it may be that you've got to do that for a while, even when they start being ridden, if they're still a bit funny with their ears, or if you did bash their mouth and now they're a bit like, oh god, it's going to happen again, might be best to go back to this until they're happy. Sorry, I can take it off next time. You know, there's loads of different ways about it, and as long as you know, take it easy, take it steady, you know, let them kind of dictate the pace. I generally, what I've done to this, don't start working them off the bridle until they're really happy. So any long reining I do, I might have the bridle on, and then I'll have, say, a Julie halter or something similar on, or a cavesson on, either over the top or underneath, depending on how it fits. So that I can still teach them left and right, or we can do our in-hand work, or I can lunge, but I'm not putting any pressure on their mouth yet until they're happy. And generally I tend to start in hand work first with that, so that I can be really subtle and gentle before going to long reining, off the bit, and obviously riding. So again, they're all different. Some of them react and respond really well to it, others not so much. So you've just got to be patient, listen to what they're telling you, and go from there. But yeah, so there's as always, there's loads of different ways of doing this. Honey is good to start with. See, that's nice and warm now because it's been in her mouth. You can warm it up if you have a metal bit as opposed to like a rubber or sweet iron or something, or copper. Obviously stainless steel. Hello, stainless steel. Good girl. Good girl. She's trying to bite it now. She says I get sweeties when I bite it. Stainless steel is going to be colder, especially this time of year, so it can help to just have it in your hand for a little bit, warm it up.
and go from there. But yeah, she's doing really well with it, but you can see she's still not 100%. That's because it's still early days really. She doesn't have this done every day. You don't have to do it every day, but it depends how quickly you want to move on. Good girl. But yeah, all done for today. That's your work.
So if you want to see some more videos like this, you can find them on our YouTube channel. All the training videos go out a week early on our YouTube channel than they do on Facebook. We cover all sorts of topics from lunging, long reining, in-hand work, ridden work, starting young horses. There's going to be lots and lots of content on there, and I'm trying to post new videos every week. So if you're looking for some new things to do, some new exercises, some new groundwork to do, then head over there and you can see them a week early, or wait to see them here on Facebook. And let us know below what you'd like to see next week.